Three sisters, three ambitions, three completely different playbooks for getting what they want, and three very different ways they handle conflict. Which one are you? And what does that mean for how you achieve your dreams? Most of us think ambition looks like Jo March, bold, relentless, and charging toward her dream. But in Little Women, ambition takes three different faces, three different ways that women approach getting what they want and how they handle it when someone or something gets in the way. Hi, I'm Tracy, and today we're back to our Typecast series, where we're analyzing the women in classic literature to explore what they have to say to us today. Because if a story has stood the test of time, if we're still watching it and talking about it 150 years later, then I think it has something to say about how we live today. In a culture obsessed with hustle, I think we sometimes forget that ambition doesn't only have to do with how badly we want something, but it has to do with how we go about getting it and what we do when we face conflict or difficulty along the way. Today, we're talking about three of the four March sisters. Meg wants stability, a beautiful home, and a family. Jo wants a career and independence. Amy wants status, beauty, and influence. Those three women have different dreams and different conflict types. But whether you're a Meg or a Jo or an Amy, each one tells you something about how you live your life and the choices you'll make. First, let's take a look at Meg. Meg's ambition is quiet and classic. Marriage, family, and a stable home. She's not spending time trying to prove she doesn't need people. She's actually getting busy building what she wants. And her method, patience, and diplomacy. I think about modern-day analog might be Princess Kate or Joanna Gaines. Think about the kind of women who wins people over by being trustworthy, steady, and warm. The writer, George Eliot, said, "The growing good of the world is partly in the unhistoric acts." The Bible says we get rewards for doing unglamorous things, like taking care of widows and orphans, even something as simple as giving a cup of cold water to a child. Meg's conflict style, she's the peacekeeper. She'll avoid confrontation at all cost, preferring to smooth things over rather than escalate. Her strength, she creates lasting security. And the risk, though, the world may overlook her, or sometimes she may be so busy caring for others that her own dreams get lost in the mix. How about Jo? Her ambition burns hot. She's waiting on no one. She wants her place in the world, she wants her independence, and she certainly wants her voice to be heard. And she doesn't wait for anyone's permission. She sold her hair to fund her mother's trip, and she argued with a male publisher twice her age. Modern parallels to Jo, I think about maybe Reese Witherspoon building her own production company, or maybe Taylor Swift fighting for the rights to her own music. And what's Jo's conflict style? She's the challenger. She meets opposition head on, even if sometimes it cost her relationships. Her strength, she changes the world. But the risk in Jo's style, sometimes she burns bridges that she might later need. And then there's Amy. Amy gets a bad rap as being vain or prideful, but I think there's more to it. I think Amy is strategic. She knows that beauty, charm, and social positioning will open doors. She's not just painting for art's sake, she's painting for prestige. Her method, it's networking, it's self-presentation, and it's aligning herself with people who she knows can help move her dreams forward. And the modern equivalent of Amy, I don't know. I've thought about Amal Clooney. She combines elegance with influence. Or maybe Hailey Bieber, who's branded her beauty products into a billion-dollar empire. Her conflict style? She's the tactician. She sidesteps direct fights, instead maneuvers herself to get what she wants. Amy's strength? She plays the long game. The risk in Amy's approach to ambition? If the social ladder collapses, she can find herself with nothing to stand on. So here's what I want to know. Which sister's ambition sounds more like you? Drop Meg, Jo, or Amy in the comments, or tell me your mix. Here's the secret. As a mom of three daughters, one awesome daughter-in-law, and now I've even got granddaughters, I can see myself and I can see my girls in these different characters. And one's not more valuable than the other. We've all been given different talents, personalities, and opportunities. So all three of these character types are valid. Whether you've got Meg's steadfastness or Jo's fire, or maybe Amy's finesse, they all can build a meaningful life if done with wisdom. The Bible even shows us these three different ambition styles. There's Ruth's quiet loyalty to Naomi, which reminds me of Meg. There's Peter, bold and brash, that reminds me a lot of Jo's trajectory. And then there's Esther, using her beauty and her strategic position to lobby the king for what she wanted. That reminds me of Amy. Here's the deal. Most of us tend to default to one of these styles, especially under pressure. Maybe you're more of a Meg or a Jo or an Amy. The key isn't to force yourself into a certain style or to think that one's better than the other. The key is to understand yourself. You know, there's so much value in self-awareness, and then from that point, grow in wisdom and in grace. Each style has its strengths and weaknesses. Meg's steadfastness can bring peace, but it can also avoid hard truths. Jo's boldness can fight for what's right, but it can also wound people. And Amy's strategy can certainly open doors, but it can also slip pretty quickly into manipulation. Wisdom is knowing yourself and then working on how you bring out the best in your character type while avoiding those pitfalls. And that's not compromise or being inauthentic. That's being mature. So when the heat is on, who shows up in you? Is it Meg, Jo, or Amy? And are you using that style to your advantage, or is it using you? And if this has got you thinking, then check out my episode on Jane Eyre and Catherine Earnshaw from Wuthering Heights, because that'll get you wondering about which version of you the world sees the most.